Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tips Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined today by my two chilly co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
I'm not cold.
And
Absolutely perfect here.
And behind the computer, looking pretty red-faced today, it is Bruce, the tugboat.
Tug or not?
What's up?
Alrighty. Welcome to the best damned podcast ever. I have been so excited to do this show today. There has been nothing but drama going on in the NFL, and I am particularly thrilled to do this show. The rumors have swirled. Everybody speculated. Deshaun Watson, the Miami Dolphins, all of that. We are going to get into it momentarily, but first, some news and notes from training camp. To start it off, one of the worst injuries that I have seen in a minute, one that really disappointed me. It hit me quite like J.K. Dobbins did last year. Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick, who had a ton of upside and a ton of promise going into the season, tore his ACL in a non-contact injury yesterday and will most likely miss the entire year. Big blow for the Broncos receiving corps.
Third straight year that they lose a receiver on that injury.
Yeah.
Same injury.
And
The turf.
yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
said earlier. He thought it had
Hamler.
to do with
It
the
was
turf.
Hamler
KJ Hamler.
last year or the year before, and somebody else.
Sutton. Didn't Sutton get hurt last
Sutton
year? Yeah.
that was the year before last.
Right. Well, now that leaves a lot of weight on the shoulders of Jerry Jeudy and Sutton. I mean, they had a great trio. And Tim Patrick, I feel like, just completed that.
They'll bring some more guys into
Trifecta.
camp here. You know, once it starts going. I'm sure they got more than
Absolutely. And I know they
right
do.
now that they need.
I loved Tim Patrick going into this season. He was one of the guys that I wanted to draft. I thought he had great value later in the rounds. Fantasy-wise, he was going to be a guy that I was going to target, and I really hated to see him go down. Michael Carter, running back for the Jets, returned to practice today. So now that we know he is healthy, 100%, practicing with the team, it'll be interesting to see between him and Breece Hall who's getting more reps in training camp.
You could probably count on them splitting carries right now.
I agree.
Here's the thing. You got Halls coming up from college. A little bit of a curve. All these guys hit a little roadblock here and there
Absolutely.
during the season because they're not used to playing for 17 weeks,
Right.
you know. So I think you might see Carter, he's banged up. Hall might get the majority of the snaps here in preseason and stuff like that to make sure they're both healthy when the season starts.
Right. And some other running back news. Nick Chubb participated in practice, fully padded the other day. Actually, that was yesterday. And he will be 100% ready to go week one. That was one that I think a lot of people were kind of worried about.
Yeah.
Because he was pretty banged up to end the year. And I'm glad that he's going to be good. I still think that they're going to utilize Kareem Hunt a lot more now that he's 100%
Oh,
good.
I believe you could probably see them go 50-50. And whoever the hot hand was, that's who they'll go with.
Well, I think Chubb definitely has the advantage. I wouldn't say 50-50, but
with Brissett basically starting the first 6 games,
right.
they're going to have to run the football.
More
Which
running
is a good
back.
thing for fantasy guys.
Right,
So
absolutely.
whoever, I don't think Hunt's value is diminished whatsoever.
No, neither do I.
He'll put up as good numbers as some starters.
I think Hunt's numbers are going to be up
Yeah.
for this year, and I think that will slightly impact Nick Chubb. But overall, I think that's going to be a great 1-2 punch.
Chubb's a monster.
Honey Badger's back.
What?
The Honey Badger's back. Tyrann Mathieu. He took a
Oh,
leave of
yeah.
absence.
His leave of absence
leave
is
of
now
absence.
over, which is good to hear.
Who?
Tyrann Mathieu is back with the team after leaving due to some personal reasons last week, but he is back with the team now. I didn't really get any intel on that, but it's good to see that he's back. And some other running back news. Both Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison left practice yesterday with hand injuries. Both of them with hand injuries. Something to monitor there. I guess Cook walked off the field, got it looked at, went back out for one more snap, and then left the field for the day. Matt,
That's normal. It's bumps and bruises. It's camp, and this is what happens.
correct. Out of Detroit, Jamal Williams getting to work with the first team.
What does that tell you?
That tells me one of two things. Either Swift isn't 100% healthy, or all the time off has diminished him a little bit.
Making sure that Swift is healthy come the start of the season.
That
I've been
could
seeing
and
nonstop
Williams is
videos
gonna
of
get a
him
little
catching
more
the ball,
action.
running.
Swift?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pumping the shit out of Swift right now.
Yeah.
But I think our value on him might be a little bit too high. I'm really starting to think that
On Swift,
everybody hyped him
here's
up
the
big
thing about
time.
Swift, when
And I'm
Swift is
starting to get a little
healthy,
nervous.
he's very good. He's very good. And I think he's got a little more explosiveness than Jamal Williams. He could take it to the house. where
Absolutely,
Williams,
he does.
I don't think Williams is that type of player.
No. But
But Williams will run hard.
He ain't afraid of
And
nope.
Dan Campbell said it.
that's true. He's a freak.
They're gonna bite ankles and kick people in the nuts this year, and that's their game plan.
Wasn't it
He
Swift?
said the same fucking thing last year, and they won 3 games. So,
They're gonna play on grass, on turf. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
He already said it.
Rah,
He
rah.
said, they'll play in the goddamn sanitation department. They don't care.
Dan Campbell's like a fleshlight.
I love Dan Campbell.
Dan
I want to
Campbell's
drink
like a
beer
fleshlight.
with Dan Campbell.
I love him too and would love to drink with
I
him.
want to
but he-
drink beer with him.
Okay.
Me, him, Bruce, and at the end of the drinking, we just crush Bruce with a couple of bottles of whiskey, smash him right over his head.
I'll take it.
I want
I ain't
it.
afraid.
I want it bad.
Dan Campbell's a fluffer.
I don't know what a fluffer is.
You know, on the porn set, the guy who gets everybody
I
ready.
don't do
He's
that.
a fluffer, okay? Because he comes out and he's going to do it again. Oh, we're going to bite ankles and kneecaps. We're going to tread water until we, whatever he said yesterday. What was it? We're going to
Listen,
tread water
listen to
until
me.
they fucking drown.
Everybody's buying into the Lions.
I'm aware, and that's everybody.
Except
that's
for
fine.
Vegas.
That's except for Las Vegas, and they are usually the ones that are right.
And
But
they're usually
that's
right.
fine. Buy in all you want, but at the end of the day, he came out with all this rah bullshit about how we're going to play as hard as possible and bite ankles, and they won 3 games last year. So don't get it twisted. Do I think they're going to win
With
a few
lot
more
of
games
injuries
this
and
year?
a lot of rookies.
Right. They're going to win 5 or 6 games. Period.
Let me tell you something. They got a tough schedule, and I don't think people realize how good the teams that they're playing are going to be improved.
No, you can tread water all you want, but at the end of the day, at some point, you're going to drown.
The big ugly pitcher in the room is still there, and that's the defense. And
Yeah.
they did nothing.
Really, to
Besides-
help. Besides Hutchinson.
Draft a couple of dudes to fill in the
fill in-
gaping
Yeah.
Bring dudes back.
gaping holes that they had all over the place.
Right. Everybody just needs to calm down
Yeah,
on the Lions. Calm down, because guess what? They're a 6-win club.
if they're lucky.
Yeah. New Orleans. Mark Ingram is getting first-team reps, but I don't really know why. Because Alvin Kamara's court date has now been pushed back for the 3rd time until September 29th. The NFL has already came out and said they will not rule on any disciplinary action until after his court date. So,
Well, they
Alvin
want to
Kamara-
give him enough reps with the first team so he's ready to go
true.
for when this guy does get suspended.
Well,
He is going to get suspended.
you have to figure, we might not see a suspension on him this year.
Right.
If that trial's not starting till October, and the trial takes a few months, and a sentencing takes a few months, we might
Right.
be out of the season before we see any real disciplinary action for Kamara. So, as of now, plan on him to be the week 1 starter. Plan on him to not miss a step and be right where he has been. He's going to be most likely a top 5 running back.
Yeah.
And until we hear otherwise, no disciplinary action until after the trial, which again, we're going to be in week 4 or 5 before the trial even begins. So
Right.
essentially, for now, roll with Kamara as being the week 1 starter. And other than that, there's not all that much news. Oh, Kyler Murray got COVID.
Whatever. Put that in his contract.
Other than that, I think that's the news. Outside of the obvious 2 big pieces of news, which we are going to talk to absolute death today, starting off in Cleveland. an independent former federal judge has finally, after reviewing all necessary testimony, has ruled that Deshaun Watson should be suspended for 6 games. So,
But wait, there's more.
the NFLPA issued a statement before the ruling came out and said, whatever her ruling is, we will accept. We're not going to appeal. Deshaun is prepared to take whatever it comes and deal with it. So 6 games for Deshaun Watson. NFLPA said they're not going to appeal that. So as of this moment, Deshaun Watson will miss the first 6 weeks of the season. Now, because he is not suspended for a full year, he is allowed to use facilities. He is allowed to practice, all of the above. He will be with the team throughout the preseason. Now, financially, the Browns and Deshaun Watson's agent are geniuses because they obviously saw this coming. That buku contract, the 6 games that he's missing is only costing him somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000. So, for somebody who's getting paid an average of $40 million a year, missing 6 games and only losing out on $300,000 is the absolute best case scenario.
It's about 4.5.
It's $386,000.
I've seen it was like 438,000.
Either way,
Either
that's
way,
that's what he spends on sides at dinner.
less than a
I
half
heard
$1
Roger
million.
Goodell is going to appeal it, though.
So, as Bruce said, there's a whole nother twist to this story now.
Because the judge said she wished she could give him more, but because it's, well, I forgot the word, but because every time this happens, it's 6 game suspension. That's what she just threw down.
The problem is that there's no real precedence to go off of here. Nobody has had allegations like this
Nobody's
come
had
out
24
against them. 24
fucking
girls
rubs
come out and
against
say, oh, there was some sort of sexual misconduct here. There's no precedence to be set. So, which I didn't personally understand that, because you have to figure, Adrian Peterson got accused of child abuse, missed a year. Guys who have gotten into physical altercations with women, missed a year. Calvin Ridley made a legal bet at a sports book and is missing a year. I get it. There was precedent set for those.
Well, this guy, altogether, he's missed 24 games.
Voluntarily, he sat out last
it
year
doesn't
because he was
matter
being a
because
bitch about his contract.
Well,
Period.
he should have sat out. He should have sat out. He did the right thing. He did the right thing.
You
He
are
knew
the
this was
first
gonna
person.
Come.
You are the first person to sit here and say these guys are babies for sitting out the season.
I think they're, for what?
For sitting out the season over a contract dispute. If you recall,
Yeah, but this is a legal thing.
No.
Yeah, that all had to play through till there was no charges pressed against this guy.
his main reason
It
for
was not criminal.
his
He had to
main
make sure it
reason-
wasn't criminal.
he sat out last year because he wanted to get paid. All of this came with it.
No.
What do you mean, no?
All that shit was going on.
No.
The investigation was going on.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
this
it was.
stuff came up week 4 of last year. His original reason for holding out last year was a contract dispute, which is why it shouldn't count for time served. If the NFL would have said, hey, you need to lay low until this comes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't get to voluntarily sit out a year and they count that towards your suspension. You don't get to go to the cops when there's
That's what it is.
if there's a trial going on and you're
Obviously, this mediator took him sitting out the whole entire year.
No, she did not.
In consideration,
She took into effect the fact that there was no precedent to go off of.
that, and there's no criminal charges.
Correct.
Nothing was criminal.
But
so
she
it's
said
civil.
that there were 5 cases out of the 24, 5 that she reviewed that there was some sort of criminal conduct involved.
there wasn't, because he wasn't charged.
He wasn't charged. Again, we'll go back through this. He wasn't charged because he bought his way out of it. He settled out of court with all of these women.
Settled out of court because there was no criminal charges, so he had to do something. He had to do something. These people are. It's a he said, she said bullshit.
Correct.
Is what it is.
But the independent judge found that there were 5 cases that it was likely there was some sort of criminal merit. That's the quote.
Well, here's the thing. If there was criminal, the police would have charged him. Period.
They didn't. And the
Right.
independent
No district attorney is going to pull a guy of his profile in on a tug and rub. That's not going to happen, dude. Unless you have solid evidence, videotape, Not going to happen.
So a federal judge that reviewed the case
Correct.
said that 5 of the cases out of the 24 held some sort of criminal
Of misconduct.
merit. Correct.
Correct.
So somebody in the Houston DA dropped the fucking ball is essentially what she said with that quote. Now, Roger Goodell holds all the cards here. The reason why this was brought in front of this independent former federal judge was because of a collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and the NFLPA, where they said for cases of this magnitude and where there's no prior thing to go off of, precedent set, they were going to utilize this option as a way to come up with suspensions. So we don't have, Roger Goodell says 8 games. The NFLPA appeals it. We go to court, all of that, to try and avoid that. Now, ultimately, Roger Goodell is the one who holds all the cards and can make the final decision. So here's the big question. Will Roger Goodell appeal this or not? There's a lot of people who think he will. So we'll play devil's advocate here and say Roger Goodell does appeal this suspension and says, yeah, I took into account what the judge said. I'm going to suspend him for 12 games. Now, Deshaun Watson has one of 2 options. He can either accept the 12-game suspension, sit out the 12 games this year and move on, or him and the NFLPA can appeal that. In which case, it would then go to a federal court, a real federal court, not a retired judge.
This will be dragged out for the next 3-4 years.
Much like Brady's Deflategate was. That's essentially what we could have in front of us is another.
Yeah, but Deflategate was a little different. They had witnesses, they had this, they had that. I mean,
if you could sit here and tell me if this doesn't go to a federal court, there won't be people that come out of the woodwork.
Not anymore, it won't.
Why?
Because they've already settled.
All that is a signature on paper.
They've already settled.
All that is a signature.
The checks are in the mail. You know what happens when the checks are in the mail, Bruce? Nothing.
But that's not, again.
Goodell's not going to do anything. It is what it is. He needs to just stay out of it. It played itself out. Let it go, and let's move on. This is bullshit.
Disagree with you wholeheartedly.
That's great.
If he serves a 6-game suspension, if Roger Goodell does not step in and does not say, hey, this ain't enough. This is not enough. We are setting a new precedence because there wasn't one.
Oh, we've already had the old precedences with all the disciplinary shit for these guys in the NFL.
Correct. And usually
that all went out the window.
This is what the NFL's fatal flaw is. They over-suspend for bullshit, i.e. Josh Gordon, i.e. Calvin Ridley. And
Adrian Peterson,
if you want to call that.
He never did.
Michael Vick, yeah, but he had the option. Nobody was stupid enough to sign him.
Nobody signed him.
Michael Vick probably should have never played again. Okay? Point blank, period.
Oh, God. Here we go.
All right?
The guy went to fucking prison, dude.
Yes, as everybody else would have.
Why should he have not gotten a second chance? He did his time. He was charged criminally. He went to prison.
Uh-huh.
So why should he be inept from ever
Deshaun
playing
Watson
again?
should be in prison. Michael Vick shouldn't have gone to prison.
Huh?
We're
Michael
not
Vick went
getting
to
into
prison.
the debate of every fucking criminal activity of the NFL ever. Because next I'm going to hear both of you say Aaron Hernandez should have been back on the field. So let's just stop.
I did not say that.
Okay? At the end of the day, the NFL's fatal flaw is they under-suspend for bullshit.
R.I.P. Aaron
and over-suspend. They under-suspend for real allegations and real criminal activity and over-suspend for bullshit. They ruined Josh Gordon's career because he smoked dope, and now everybody in the league smokes fucking dope outside the facility. That's the end of it. Now, if Goodell has a backbone, he will step in here. Period.
But he doesn't.
But I think he will.
I'd rather see Goodell just go away.
I'd rather see
He's
him
a fucking clown.
trip on a ledge and smack his face.
That's
off
fine.
concrete.
That's clown.
Fine. I agree. I'm not saying he's not. But what I'm saying is he can actually step in here and do what's right.
Well, I don't. If the mediator said 6 games, what's the big issue?
Because
Once again, he was not charged criminally. If it was a criminal offense, he would have been charged. There would be evidence. He would be in jail.
So you think 6 games is good enough?
I think it's good enough.
You think
That's what it is.
you think the punishment fits the crime?
Yes, because once again, there was no way he was going to be charged criminally for any of
Without the criminal charges,
accusations.
should he?
I can accuse Bruce of tug rubbing me the wrong way, and I didn't like it. And then I said, well, you know what? It was a little bit of misconduct going on. Well, for Bruce to make it go away, you're going to have to write me a check. And that's exactly what happened here 24
You
times.
just reverse the roles, though.
I'm sorry?
If I'm the one giving you the tug and rub,
Maybe I wasn't
I would
happy
be
with the way
suing
you tug
you.
and rubbed it. I don't know.
Either way, I think that Goodell will step in. I think it's the right thing to do. I think realistically, they should make Deshaun Watson sit out more time. And there's a whole nother thing here. If Roger Goodell does appeal the suspension, okay, and it does go to a federal court, and he is suspended next season rather than this year, which could happen, guess whose pockets it's going to hurt? So he's going to get paid whatever it is, pennies on the dollar to play this year and then miss next year. I think, honest to God, they should come for him. Period. Because these guys he's a scumbag. Deshaun Watson's a scumbag.
Nobody, I don't think there's anybody saying that he's not a scumbag.
Right. So 6
He's
games.
a fucking weirdo, is what he is.
6 games is not a punishment for a scumbag freak weirdo. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's not.
it is what it
and
is.
It pisses me off more that he knew he was a fucking scumbag. He knew he was going to get suspended. And so he negotiated this contract and got out more. He's fleeced the system. And that's not fucking right. He should fucking miss an entire.
A lot of people that do that.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't make
A
it
lot of
right.
people do that.
He should be
Doesn't
in
make it
prison.
right.
Right.
Doesn't
There's
make
a lot
it
of
right.
scumbags in the NFL.
I'm aware.
There's a shit ton of them.
But guess what?
Owners, players,
Absolutely.
coaches,
Absolutely.
GMs.
100%.
It's you know what? If you in society, there's a lot of scumbags.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but scumbags have rights. Scumbags have rights. They do.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is
I'm not. I'm just making a statement.
punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Well, the crime is what the crime is. Like I said before, he was not charged criminally. There was no evidence of him.
Neither was O.J. Simpson.
Well,
but
no.
Listen, if Mike Vick went behind bars,
you're
Deshaun
wrong
Watson
there. You're
should
wrong.
definitely go behind bars.
What do you mean? I'm wrong.
You're wrong there. O.J. Simpson was guilty. He was acquitted. He was acquitted because the evidence was tainted. The prosecution
The
tainted
glove
the
did
evidence.
not fit.
That's why he walked.
Regardless.
I know.
Fucking
I watched that trial live when you were still swimming in a bag, and it is what it is.
I'm just the punishment didn't fit the crime. He should be suspended longer, in my opinion. I think Goodell will do the right thing for once. I think he'll step in and do it.
Like I said, I mean, you could do 2-3 years in prison and come out and still get a second chance to play.
Well,
You know,
the Browns are still a dumpster fire because they brought this headache.
Mike Tyson went to
themselves.
prison for
This
3
is a
years.
typical Browns fucking move.
Yep.
Mike Tyson went to
why
prison for
even
3
go through
years.
it?
He came out afterwards and continued his craft and what he did.
How is that relevant?
It's the same difference of anybody else that has been charged criminally. When they do their time, that's it.
Yes, but the time doesn't fit the punishment. 6-game suspension and $400,000 does not fit what he did. Period. It should hurt him. It should hurt the pockets. It should hurt his reputation a little bit more. At the end of the day,
I think his reputation's already hurt because it's out there.
it should be hurt more.
I think
it
it's
should
hurt
be
because it's
fucking
out
hurt
there.
more. And you want to know
His
what?
weirdness is out there.
Goodell should put a fucking punishment on the fucking Browns too. The Browns
Why?
are just as scummy as him.
Why?
The Browns are just as scummy as him.
Oh God, dude! If that was the case, half the guys in the league would be the. Then why did they do it to Pete Carroll when he fucked over a whole university for 7 years?
That you can't sit here and compare him fucking dishing dollar bills out to people under the table in college
Okay, Urban
to
Meyer?
this. I mean, same difference. What?
Oh, it's okay for Urban Meyer to finger bang fucking college students?
If the girl asks you to be finger banged, that's one thing. If she's like, "Hey, slide your finger in my asshole at the bar," and you slide the finger in the asshole at the bar,
You don't
she
think
goes,
that's misconduct?
"Of
It's
course."
no different than what Deshaun
but guess
Watson was doing.
it was consensual misconduct. There's a
What's the-
difference.
Then how does like I said before, if these people, why did some of them go back for seconds if there was such an issue?
Because maybe there was no
See,
misconduct
to
on
me,
the first
just
time.
something just doesn't sound right about the whole situation.
At the end of the day, the judge said there were 5 cases that held some sort of criminal merit, 6-game suspension. Ball's in Roger Goodell's court now. He can appeal and make this an ongoing literal trial, and I think he should. And
Liberal trial.
liberal.
Is what it is.
That's why I forgot all these MAGA people aren't for the women's rights. But anyways,
Okay.
moving on.
All.
Moving on down to
You like how he separates it, right? That's what most of them do. They lie about their allegiance.
Wait, is he turning sides over here?
I'm sorry?
Is he turning sides over here?
Whatever. I thought you were getting a haircut, by the way.
I did get a haircut.
What the fuck?
I did get a haircut.
Okay.
You look like Christopher right now.
Moving down south to Miami, Florida.
Oh, God.
So we talked about this for months, and the rumors swirled and all the above that essentially Dolphins owner Stephen Ross wanted to revamp his team with Tom Brady at
I don't
quarterback.
know why.
Anyways,
Because the Dolphins would be going to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, whatever.
yeah, because Stephen Ross would get a ring on his finger before
Take
he
more than
died
that.
because Dan Marino's weird ass couldn't do it. But anyways,
Tom throwing a Tyreek.
now
Whatever. All parties involved should be prosecuted. As
Why?
far as I'm concerned.
why there's no criminal activity.
Yeah,
There's no criminal charges. There's no criminal charges.
They've been.
There was no
found
criminal
guilty
charges.
of tampering.
Who?
Stephen Ross
Correct. The Dolphins.
found guilty of tampering. They've lost multiple draft picks.
They lost first rounds and third round draft picks.
Yes.
Correct.
His little idea was to have Tom Brady come and Sean Payton come to Miami and make him a winner.
Absolutely. And he would have.
Okay. So he talked to these guys
Well,
and their agent.
originally the discussions happened with Don Yee. He proposed this to both Sean Payton and Tom Brady's agent and proposed the idea of, whilst Brady was still in New England, that is the biggest line of this all, that he proposed this to Brady's agent while he was still in New England. That is going to be the most important part of information out of this whole thing. He would give Brady ownership in the team and partial control of personnel. So we don't know exact numbers, but what it was something around 25% ownership in the Miami Dolphins, which is well over $1 billion valuation in stake in the team, and as well as personnel control. So essentially, Brady, much like LeBron James does, would get to handpick his team, work on the deals, essentially have some sort of front office management position, as well as ownership, and be the star player for as long as he wanted to. Now,
It's too much for him. He can't handle all that.
I think he could, but regardless, Don Yee, as any other person would, obviously pitch this to his guys. And Don Yee would have gotten the biggest payday of any sports agent ever out of it. We'll start with that. So why would he not work this deal? Sean Payton could have went to play with one of the greatest players of NFL history. They could have went and had complete control of the organization
Already
together.
done that with Drew Brees.
It was 20 minutes from Brady's new mega mansion in Miami Beach. It would have been a literal match made in heaven. And Brady would have been the richest athlete besides Michael Jordan of all time, essentially. So, where did this all go wrong? It didn't happen fast enough. And Stephen Ross already had himself knee-deep talking to Don Yee while both these guys were under contract. This all happened while Sean Payton was still the head coach of the Saints, and Brady was still the quarterback of the Patriots. This all went down. Then
I had read something that Brady was already knew he was leaving. Basically, he was already had the foot out the door in New England.
well,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
From what I read, Brady already was unhappy with what was going on there, and he decided it was time for him to go.
Correct.
His plan was
already, the bags were already packed, and he knew it. They knew it. It's not like nobody knew.
correct. So then he was going to make the move to Miami, from what I read. And Sean Payton.
You know what? I get it. The whole scenario's great. I love that Stephen Ross would actually try to do something like this to improve his team and improve his organization, to try to do that. I don't have an issue with that. Obviously, he's paying the penalty for it now.
You want me to finish?
Go ahead.
Sean Payton wasn't ready to leave New Orleans until Drew Brees was.
Brees was already gone. He was gone already.
When?
He was gone. Last year, he was gone.
This is when Brady's still in New England.
Correct.
Correct. Brees was still with the Saints.
Brees was done. He was already had his
No,
fucking
he wasn't.
swan song. Yes,
he
already
wasn't.
announced that he was retiring.
No. We're talking 2018.
Okay.
This
I
all
don't think
started.
it goes that far back, but
It goes that far back. If you read any article online that is very easily accessible, it goes back to 2018. That's when this started.
okay.
Okay. So Peyton wasn't ready to go. Brady decided play one more year with New England. Brady goes to Tampa. Brian Flores gets hired by Miami. Everything died down. Now it comes back up because Stephen Ross wasn't happy with Tua. The deal's back on the table. Brady's building a house in Miami. He's already in Florida. We're going to make the final push. Stephen Ross goes around Don Yee and tries to go to the sources directly. Now that Peyton is retired and Brady's in Tampa. Brady retires to see how all the cards fall. Brian Flores gets fired to make room for Sean Payton. So Payton could be in the building to facilitate the deal with Tampa to bring Brady to Miami. Because if Brady unretired, ultimately he would still be property of Tampa Bay. So they would have had to have traded for Brady. Brady obviously would have made it easy and said, hey, this is the deal. I want to go to Miami. But that's why they got rid of Brian Flores to bring in Sean Payton to facilitate the deal. Now, if we recall here, Bill Belichick sent the text to the wrong Brian, congratulating him on the job. Okay? If we remember, he sent a text to, I believe it was Brian Dabble, or he sent a text to Brian Flores, pretending to be, or thinking it was Brian Dabble, essentially letting Flores know he was out as the coach of the Dolphins after going 9-0 to finish off the year. Belichick knew before Flores even did all of this was going on, because Belichick probably knew about it when it was happening in New England, when Stephen Ross was trying to get Brady there. Belichick lit the fucking match that started Brian Flores to essentially not only accuse the Dolphins of wrongful firing because they wanted to bring in Sean Payton, but also whistleblow on all of this Brady tampering. Essentially, Belichick, by sending the wrong text, started the fire that caused his in-division rival, the Dolphins, to lose out on multiple draft picks, get their owner kicked out of the building for a year, God knows what kind of financial ramifications, blew the whole fucking thing up. Belichick, as his one last fuck you swan song to Tom Brady, after all the years of animosity in New England that everybody covered up, that was his one last thing, was to cost him essentially $1 billion and defile his plan to go off into the sunset as the Dolphins quarterback with the coach that he actually wanted and be 5 minutes from his brand new house with his wife. That, in all reality, cutting through a little bit of red tape there is how this all unfolded.
That's the most biggest conspiracy theorist shit I've ever heard.
But it's all out in the open now.
It's not out in the open.
It makes sense.
What's not out in the open that I said?
Well, I don't think that anybody's accusing Bill Belichick of sabotaging the deal.
No, okay. No, is anybody...
Maybe he's just old and sent the email to the wrong person.
Isn't that a goddamn coincidence of a lifetime?
What happens?
Isn't that the coincidence of a lifetime?
I call it genius.
Exactly. It was genius. And it's something
Absolute
only...
genius.
He doesn't want to admit it because he
this
has
is
a
why
hard on
he's the best.
Belichick.
It is something
This is why
only Bill
Bill
Belichick can do.
Belichick's
And granted, that's no wrongdoing by Belichick. It was just the most perfect, conniving, beautiful, twisted thing he could have done. It was executed perfectly on his part. Perfectly.
That's why he's the greatest coach in the NFL.
That is why he is the greatest coach in NFL history. Don't know if he still is, but greatest coach in NFL history. That was just beautifully executed by him.
By the way, I don't mean to interrupt all this, but I seen a video of Mac Jones with a little kid and took his picture with him, and Mac Jones is a hell of a guy. That's all I'm going to say.
So now, what does this mean for
Next.
what does this mean for the Dolphins, who, one, are building
They're stuck with Tua.
what I think is a very nice team. Yeah. Can't draft a quarterback in the first round next year, no matter how bad they are. So essentially, yes, they are stuck with Tua, but now we're starting to hear rumors that Jimmy G could end up in Miami. That's the number one question.
Well, his agent is
that really a
trying to work out a trade right now, trying to find somebody to take him.
Well,
And as of right now, there's no takers.
I want to come back to that. But what does this mean for Miami? They're missing out on a ton of draft picks. Their owner's not allowed in the building all year. Like, I wonder what's really going to come about here. They also had a bunch of there was also other people who had ownership stake in the team and or front office positions who were also fined and suspended. The whole list of shit hasn't fully come out yet, but there was one minority owner who was fined $500,000 and suspended for the year as well. There's going to be more that comes of this. More people knew what the fuck was going on, and more and more and more is going to come from this. But I think that the ability to draft first rounders and third rounders even for Miami, not having that is going to really hurt because you don't know if Tua is the answer yet. That's number one. Number two, if you're Tua, what does this do for you? You were the
it's a business.
consolation prize. And yes, it is a business. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's noise that they want to hear, especially with a first-year head coach. I mean, it's not a great situation down there right now. That's number one. Number two,
Can make or break his career.
realistically, the biggest loser in all this is Tom Brady.
I don't even know. I'd say Tua.
Tua didn't lose out on...
You know, I think is the biggest loser out of this, Sean Payton.
Well, one, Sean Payton now, essentially...
I think Sean Payton is the biggest.
He'll probably never coach again. But I don't think he really gives a fuck because he can go make just as much money announcing and with 100 times less stress.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, but-
I don't think he has the personality for that.
And guess what? In all reality, if the Cowboys start out the year 3-3, Sean Payton's going to be the head coach anyways. So I don't...
You know what? Anybody's better than Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. Brady lost out on ownership of an NFL franchise, essentially $1 billion valuation in equity in the franchise.
But you know what? You don't know what's going to play out here within the next year anyway.
Yeah, you do.
This could all come back to haunt everybody
How so?
because it could come back and play itself out.
Well, with Brady actually ending up in Miami?
Yeah.
Tom Brady is a
Listen to
smart
me,
guy.
He's an egomaniac. He's not going anywhere. As long as he can still play at a decent level, he'll continue to play. I
Yeah.
don't see him retiring. Maybe if they win a Super Bowl.
If he wins this year, he's done.
I think if he
he's gonna
wins,
go for
he'll
10.
retire. I think if they don't,
If
the
they
cards are being fucking pulled out from under him right now with all the injuries that have started already, I could see him coming back.
I don't disagree. I could see him coming back too.
If he doesn't win, I could see him coming back.
I don't think with all this shit coming out about the Miami move, I don't see a situation where him, with his reputation, would go there. I don't.
I'll tell you where his reputation is, too. He was involved in this whole deal, too. Don't tell me it was just a fucking agent. They knew about it.
Absolutely.
They knew about it. He knew about it.
Guess what?
That tells you what kind of reputation they have. They were scheming just alongside everybody else.
Question for you.
What?
If your agent had an offer on the table to make you the second
Absolutely, I would
richest
do it.
athlete of all time,
Absolutely, I would do it.
right?
But you got to know that it's illegal.
You'd shoot him if
You
he
know.
didn't bring that to you.
I would be pissed if he didn't bring it to me. Wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Oh my
Anybody
God!
in their
yes.
fucking right mind would. But all I'm saying is your reputation. You are your reputation, and Tom's already got a reputation of doing whatever it takes to win. So
Abso-fucking-lutely.
whether it's letting air out of balls or whatever, but it is what it is. You know. So could you say he's a
If that's
scumbag?
the case, why is he still winning?
Could you say that move was scumbaggish? You could say that if you wanted to.
No, you can't.
But I call it competitiveness. If that's what you're gonna fucking do it.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Let's be real here. If he was actually taking the air out of the balls, then he would.
I'm not gonna talk
I'm
about
just
the
I'm
player.
just
not-
saying
yeah,
no.
we're not gonna
Listen,
I've heard a lot of
listen,
people say
Warren
that
Moon
shit
came
still,
on fucking
and
television.
it irritates the fuck out of me because he's still winning.
Anyway, Warren Moon came on national TV and said all quarterbacks let air out of balls. All of them do.
Right.
Okay?
It's just
It's been going on for fucking decades and nobody talks about it.
it's the whole thing. The whole thing about it is point blank period. The more you win, the more the microscope's going to be on you.
Yeah.
They're going to micromanage everything you do.
Absolutely.
That's
Aaron
why
Rodgers
this
lets air out of his balls.
That's why this came out for Brady. That was after the year they went undefeated, right?
That was the year they spanked Baltimore in the playoffs.
Yes.
That was a good game, tough game. Baltimore was in it all the way, and they lost.
Yeah.
Get over it, okay? It's no different than Minnesota losing to fucking New Orleans
Right.
because they had to change the overtime rules because Brett Favre got his fucking tank handed to him.
Yes.
I've never seen anybody take a beating like that guy did.
that
I
was-
give him a lot of fucking credit. I know why he was eating all them painkillers because my man got fucking absolutely got the shit beat out of him.
Do you let air out of your balls?
I'm sorry?
Do you let the air out of your balls?
You can let the air out of my balls here after we're
Sam
done
was just
filming
over there
this.
letting air out of his
Huh?
balls. I'm just asking you.
You
a
can
simple
drain my
question.
balls when we're done here.
Anyways, so yeah, those are the two biggest things in the NFL right now. So Miami loses draft picks, loses their owner for a year.
You know what? It is what it is.
But you know what?
He got exactly what he deserved. Do you think a year suspension was enough for that?
Yeah. I
And
do.
how much was he fined?
I don't know the
wasn't
exact
much.
numbers of the
It
fine.
wasn't
I think it was $1 million.
I don't even think it was that. No.
But for him, it doesn't really fucking
No.
matter.
Well, I
It
think
doesn't
the
matter.
only person that really loses
it's a fucking billionaire.
because now he's like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Tua knew he was a fucking. I mean, it's Tom Brady.
Listen,
Yeah, but it's
what I'm
like
saying?
it's like okay,
That's like saying-
this
that's-
team
that's
has
like
never
saying
really
Baker
had my
Mayfield-
back at
how
all.
does Baker feel that he lost his job to the weirdo Deshaun Watson? It is what it is, dude.
Deshaun
He's got beat out
Watson's
by a
better
better man.
than Baker
That would be like the
Mayfield,
04 Pistons having a chance to sign Michael Jordan for Chauncey Billups. At the end of the day, he's good, but you do what the fuck you do. You do what you do to win. And I don't knock Stephen Ross because guess what? The old man had the
Hey, at
fucking
least he
balls to put
tried.
it on the
At least
table.
he fucking
Right.
tried. I
Right.
didn't see William Clay Ford ever fucking
Yeah,
try some
no.
shit like
You don't
that.
see Martha's-
I didn't see Martha
Yeah.
try anything like that.
Exactly.
You know, come
Fuck
on,
it.
man.
I'm
give
good
that
with
fucking
it.
shit credit.
I
Hey,
do too.
Eddie DeBartolo went to fucking prison.
I'd go to prison to win.
That's what he did.
That's what the fuck you do. That
he
is
won
what the
fucking
fuck
4.
you do.
He won 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Eddie DeBartolo won 5 fucking Super Bowls.
Okay.
You don't know who I'm talking about, do you, Bruce?
You're right.
You look a little fucking lost.
Yeah, I look
Might
like
want to Google
I look like
it.
you last week. when
Eddie
you just had
DeBartolo.
no fucking idea what Sam was saying. 46.
Okay. Switching gears up here. 2 more things I want to cover today. We've talked a lot about our friends on Instagram, SOG Football. They have now come out with their top 10 list of best quarterbacks in NFL history.
What's SOG?
It's an Instagram account they have.
I'm pretty sure you
And who are these
literally
people?
sent.
Yeah, you
They
send
post.
them back and forth all the time.
What do you mean?
You send their posts to us all the time.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So they came out with a list of their top 10 quarterbacks of all time. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
Number 10, Steve Young.
Steve Young?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't see how they would stick Steve Young in there. I think there's other guys better than him. Go ahead.
At number 9, John Elway.
Number 9? Okay.
Number 8, Brett Favre.
Favre?
Yep.
The gunslinger.
Okay.
7, Johnny Unitas.
Different era. Yeah.
6, Dan Marino.
What?
6, Dan Marino.
Okay.
5, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Go ahead.
4, Drew Brees.
Okay.
3, Joe Montana.
Fuck. Suck a dick. Suck a dick. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
And now you have to remember,
Go ahead.
this is voted on by the people.
I don't. You know what?
Voted on by
All these
fans.
Teenagers your age watching this shit. Go ahead. Go
3
ahead.
is Joe Montana.
Go ahead.
I think that's
bullshit.
I think that's a perfect spot for him. 2 is Peyton Manning.
Can't argue that. Go ahead.
And number 1 is Tom Brady.
I don't. Agree
Yes,
with number one.
sir.
I don't agree with number 1. I think
No
you were going to
shit.
put the best quarterback. He's the most winningest quarterback. I get it,
Which would make him the
but
best.
he's not the best.
So-
Joe Montana should be number 1 on that list. Brady should be 2. Peyton Manning should be 3.
At the end of the day, the people have spoken. Tom Brady 1.
It
Peyton
doesn't
2,
matter.
And
It's
Joe
all-
Montana 3.
It's all what it is.
What is it?
It's bullshit.
No, see, you say that, but at the end
It's
of the day,
bullshit.
at the end of the day, numbers don't lie.
Bullshit. That's what happens when you put a bunch of fucking 30-year-old guys in there or 25-year-old guys making a fucking website.
Johnny
Oh.
Unitas played in
It doesn't
1911,
fucking matter,
and he was
dude.
on the list.
Yeah, maybe his grandpa told him about him.
Well, then guess what? More grandpas should be telling their kids about
guess
Joe
what?
Montana.
Johnny Unitas, was he a good football player? He was decent. Was he at the caliber of a fucking Dan Marino? Absolutely fucking not.
Don't forget that
why
Joe
is the
Montana
Terry
got ran
Bradshaw
out
on
of
there?
town for Steve Young.
Huh?
Don't forget that Joe Montana got ran out of town for Steve Young.
Fuck you. Whatever.
say.
Whatever. They went with the younger guy with the smaller contract. We already know what it was. He lost his job on injury. Sort of like my boy Drew Bledsoe.
You know what they say, right? If you're not first, you're last.
Whatever. Ricky Bobby.
All right, we're going to play a new game today.
I'm not playing a game.
We're going to play a new game
I
today.
don't play games.
Here we go.
You can't beat me. That's why you want to play.
What?
Yeah, you haven't beat Bruce in a game yet this year.
Fuck you.
The first game, Garrett was even in it. I don't even think you beat Garrett.
Yeah, you didn't even beat out Garrett. All right. This one is called Hot or Not.
Hot or not?
I want you guys to tell me if you think this hot take is reality or actually a hot take. Okay? So, if you think it's going to happen or if you think it's far-fetched and it's going to be a hot take, are you ready?
You got to stroke the beard a couple times. Get
You're ready.
Zone out for a second. Come back to life.
The Kansas City Chiefs will finish last in their division and miss the playoffs.
Not. No. They won't.
They won't.
No.
So you think that's a hot take then?
They're not going to lose. They're not going to be finished last in their division. No.
You don't. So
I don't
Chargers,
think that.
Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs.
One of those teams are going to fucking take a step back.
I would agree with you there. I think that it's far-fetched for me to think Patrick
hot
Mahomes
take.
will finish in fourth. It's a hot take. There's a situation where it could happen. Like, don't get me wrong. All the teams in that division are so good.
All it takes is one injury.
That's it.
One injury.
Yeah.
Whether it's Derek Carr, whether it's the kid with the Chargers,
Herbert.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Whether
Come on.
it's him or anybody else, all it takes is one injury, dude. It could be Russell Wilson. You don't know.
You never know.
You know?
But I think last in the division and miss the playoffs.
No, I don't think
No.
they'll finish last.
Miss the playoffs. Little bit of a
Miss the
different
playoffs.
question.
The only reason why they would miss the playoffs is if 3 teams in their division make it that far.
Not even. I mean, if realistically, I think the Bills will be a playoff team, right? Whoever wins the AFC
Well,
South.
like
probably
I
the
said,
Titans.
I mean, I see at least 2 playoff teams coming out of that division.
Agree, 1,000%.
At least 2.
I think there's a scenario.
3.
I think there's a scenario where they could finish in third and miss by 1 game. Like,
Right.
but is it unlikely? I think we're going to see the Chiefs in the playoffs. Point blank. Period. Moving on. Mitch Trubisky will end up being the second best quarterback from his draft after this year.
Say that one more time.
Mitch Trubisky will
It's a
end up
trick
being the
question.
second best quarterback from his draft after this year.
I don't remember who was drafted with him.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
Deshaun Watson.
The 2017 draft. Mitchell Trubisky was taken 2 overall. Patrick Mahomes was taken 10th overall. Deshaun Watson was taken 12th overall.
Dude, I don't even think he's gonna play.
And you said he's going to be the second best
Like-
quarterback out of that draft class?
Yep.
He's already not even in the top fucking 2. What are you talking about?
What they're saying is he will put up a performance this year
Oh, yeah?
that could give
Yeah.
you.
Guess what? He might not even make it out of fucking training camp, dude. I would say that's counting your chickens before they're hatched. You know?
So
And let me tell you something. I watched a little footage on Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And
Kenny Pickett looks hot.
Pickett's building a little rapport with my man from Georgia there.
I agree. George Pickens.
George Pickens. Pickens
looking
to Pickett. Pickett to Pickens.
Yeah, it's got a ring to it.
And let me tell you something. Don't be surprised if these 2 kids ain't starting come start of the season. Because one thing about Trubisky is this.
Said that last
He's had his chance. Not at one place, at 2 places.
Right. That's
And
true.
couldn't do it.
The only thing stopping the Chargers' defense from being elite is their linebacking core.
I don't think so anymore. I think their defense is good enough now.
You do.
I do. I think their defense is good enough. Listen, they added the pieces they needed to add, and that's that they're going to be good. Linebacker is a position where nowadays all you need is that stout guy in the middle, and you need a guy fast on the outside that can cover tight ends. That's all you need. So normally teams are in a nickel or a dime anyway. So I think the position of linebacker is, unless you're an edge rusher, is overrated.
I agree with you. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about the Bills roster on paper, right? And how incredible it is. The Chargers are right there.
Listen, the Bills
On
the Bills
paper,
offense,
they look so good.
I think the Chargers are.
the
gonna
Bills
be one of the best
offense
teams
is
in the
cute.
league.
They got some really good receivers, a
Oh,
good
yeah.
tight end.
Yep.
You know what though? They don't have a really good running back. The Chargers have a better running back than they do.
The
Yeah.
defensive line.
1,000.
You tell me
solid
that they
as
got
hell.
anybody as good as Eckler.
No, not even close.
No.
I think Austin
No.
Eckler. I hate talking about Austin Eckler because everybody. Austin Eckler is one of
Yeah,
the
I know.
best
They're
running
gonna
backs
eat you up
in
on
the league.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
He's
shit.
top
I get it.
3. He is top fucking 3. I'm sorry.
And now
he's
we're not
top
talking
3.
just about fantasy. We're talking
talking overall ability as a player.
The guy is an animal catching the ball and running the ball.
He's fucking incredible.
And guess what? I don't mean to steer away from this, but his backup,
Josh
Justin Jackson,
Justin Jackson, yeah.
he just signed with Detroit, and he's actually on the roster now here in Detroit.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Looking to get a spot.
I did not know that.
Yes.
That
I
could
thought
be,
I'd enlighten you guys on that.
that could be a
anything
nice
about
addition
that,
for
huh?
them because he
Yes, he was with the Chargers last year.
yeah he
he
showed a
was
lot
back-
of promise.
Huh?
He showed a lot of promise with the
Well,
Chargers
and
those first couple
signed-
years.
and actually, they had drafted another back last year also. So I think that's why they kind of let him go his own way.
I agree.
Because he's been backing up
What,
Eckler
they got
for 3
4
years.
running backs on roster now?
They got more than that. I think they got 5.
Oh, they got about one guy that was here. He was done. I don't know who it was. I think he retired or something. I don't know who it was.
Aaron Rodgers will retire before his contract
Well
ends.
said.
Well, his contract right now, what was the extension? 3 more years?
Yep.
I don't see Aaron. You know what? He's kind of a weirdo, too. We'll see how much peyote he smokes this year.
I swear to God, I was going to say he's going to live on a peyote
When he
farm.
starts eating some mushrooms and shit, he'll retire. He'll be like, I'm done.
Had enough.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, I agree with that.
If they beat him up again like they did over the COVID shit, I could see him leaving.
Now, I want a little sidecar to that question. Will Aaron Rodgers win another Super Bowl before he
Nope.
retires?
Nope.
Here's the thing with a player of his caliber, all it takes is for one season and everything go right and him not lose anybody, and they could make it there.
So
He's got an easy division. He's already got a one-way ticket to the fucking playoffs. All they need is home field advantage.
okay, so hypothetically, let's say he does play out his contract. So
Correct.
3 full seasons.
Correct.
Does he win another Super Bowl?
Nope.
I think he could. I think he could.
Not could. Do you think he will win another Super Bowl? Do you think the Packers will win another Super Bowl within the next 4 years?
As of right now, in the position that they're in right now, like I said, he plays in a garbage division. Okay, the North is garbage. He has a one-way ticket to the playoffs for the next 3 years. Possibly home field if they can win enough games. Anything is possible.
But it
I think
hasn't
he
happened
might.
since 2011, so I'm going to say no.
I agree with you.
Say that
Now,
again?
It hasn't happened since 2011.
Well,
And he's been in a garbage,
well,
and the Lions have been fucking
wait a
way
minute now.
fucking
Wait a
worse.
minute now. I mean, Minnesota had their run there. You know, Detroit hasn't had a run. Minnesota had a run.
Did the
Detroit
Bears
did
have a
a
run?
when Schwartz was here. So they played them.
Should have never got rid of him,
Semi-tough.
but
Huh?
should have never got rid of him. But
now,
There was the 1 year where he was hurt. Who was hurt? Him? Who was
who's him?
everybody the year the North when Rodgers was hurt, somebody else was hurt. The quarterback for Minnesota, and Mitch Trubisky was in fucking Chicago, and we still couldn't win the division.
Yeah.
With Matt Stafford.
okay.
Well, I wasn't talking about the Lions. I'm just saying that.
Well, that's
Aaron
what
Rodgers
I'm talking
isn't
about.
gonna
Okay,
fucking
he has a one-way ticket to the
use my
fucking
French.
playoffs
I
every
say the
year.
F word too
It's
much
like
on this
LeBron James
but-
playing in the East. He had a one-way ticket every year for fucking 8 years to the championship.
Agree.
It is what it is. His opportunity.
LeBron actually
look at
made it
this
work,
way.
though.
Look at it this way. Who do you think has a better chance of finishing higher, Tampa Bay or Green Bay?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
No, I'm serious.
Tampa Bay.
I think Tampa
That
Bay
wasn't
plays
a joke.
tougher schedule
Agreed.
than fucking Green Bay does. Green Bay's got fucking 6 walk-me games.
I agree. But I
Even as shitty as New Orleans is, and as shitty as fucking Atlanta is, they're going to be better than anybody playing in the North.
3 weeks ago on this show, you and me both sat here and thought that Tampa Bay was either undefeated or a one-loss team.
This is
So
what I'm
yes,
trying to tell
I
you.
do think they'll finish better than Green Bay because at the end of the day, you have no idea what Green Bay's offense is going to look like. It's going to take time in games for them to get
We have
rapport.
no idea who's going to protect fucking Tom Brady.
That is true, but it doesn't.
That's why I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay finishes higher than Tampa. I'm not saying that they're going to beat Tampa.
I know.
What I'm trying to say is their record might be better than Tampa's.
And what I'm saying is, I think Green Bay realistically at their ceiling is an 11-win team with all rookie receivers, with no Devontae Adams, with the setup that they have.
Their defense got a lot better.
But it's
Their
going to
defense
take.
has gotten a lot better.
It's going to take time for them to gel. Aaron Rodgers is a very particular guy, as we've seen. It's going to take
You'll see,
time
you'll eat some
for him to
mushrooms
trust
and
people.
Figure it out.
I agree, but I think they're an 11-win team at their ceiling, and I think
Talk
that
to God for a little
Tampa
bit.
definitely has a higher ceiling.
They're 12-win.
Hold on. I have one more thing. If Aaron Rodgers does not win another Super Bowl, so he retires within the next 3 years with one, two-parter. One, is his career a disappointment? And two, can you put him in that conversation?
I would say it's a disappointment. I would say it's a disappointment if he doesn't win another fucking Super Bowl. Because all this time has gone by in the past 5 or 6 years where they haven't won shit.
I agree.
And they should have.
5 or 6. They haven't won anything in 11 years.
5 or 6 years, they should have
Going
at
on
least
12.
won another Super Bowl.
I agree with that. If Aaron Rodgers can't win you at
Within the
least
last
2,
5 years, they should have won another Super Bowl. But the defense has been shoddy, and they become one-dimensional. When playoff time came, they stopped running the football, and all they're doing is relying on Aaron Rodgers to throw it all over the field.
Yep.
I just want to know.
That's not going to make it.
I want to know what's going on in that sideline tent.
What?
The sideline tent he goes into every fucking game when he gets hurt. Then he comes out magically fucking delicious.
Maybe you're in
throwing
that tent
fucking
on your
dimes.
knees, fucking shining his helmet.
What's going on in the
Maybe
going
you're
on in the tent?
on your knees.
Maybe
shining
Deshaun
his
Watson's
helmet.
in there. Give him a couple of handies.
Lord knows you want to sign Matt Stafford's fucking helmet. We already know that. I don't think Kelly would appreciate that, but
I think it is a disappointment.
I think if he does not win another Super Bowl, it's disappointing for him.
People talk about this guy like he's one of the GOATs. Like he's top
and you
5.
know what?
He is.
No, he's not. He is not top 5. Period. If you guess what? What has always been the knock on Dan Marino?
If Dan Marino, the only reason why Dan Marino was ranked 6th
It's because he didn't win.
6th because he didn't win a fucking Super Bowl. He went up against a juggernaut as a fucking rookie.
Yep.
Against a fucking team that was unbeatable.
How many does Drew
that
Brees
has
have?
I don't even know how many Hall
Drew
of Famers.
Brees had what? Is Drew Brees have 1 or 2?
Got one.
1. Only
Got
one?
The one
So
Deflategate. Or not Deflategate.
Bountygate.
Bountygate.
So, do we talk about Drew Brees like he's a GOAT?
Yeah.
For me,
I think he is.
Realistically, there's
No,
3
hey,
people.
Drew Brees is not the greatest.
Not the greatest.
And
no,
you
but he's
talk
top
about a guy
10.
who's putting up numbers. Everybody forgets that Drew Brees was in front of Tom.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. But I think
And Brady was
He's
in
top
the league
10.
longer than
for me personally, there's
sure.
3 guys who are in the GOAT conversation that you could argue, even though I will disagree, that you can argue as a GOAT. It's Brady, Manning, and Montana. That's it. So
And here's the thing with the Manning thing too. Manning got lucky he won that last Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Which he needs to just send all his Super Bowl accolades
To Von
from Denver to Von Miller's house.
now, if Aaron Rodgers comes out of this with 2 more Super Bowl wins, you throw him in there with the GOAT conversation. He won't.
You have to.
But that's what he would need to do.
He would need to win back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yes, he would need to do that to be up there with those 3. That's
to
my
be
opinion.
Even in the top 3.
I agree.
He would have to do that.
Agree.
There's no way he's knocking Montana out. I don't see how Montana's where he's at anyway. And like I said, Peyton Manning, if you want to talk about, and I'll say this till the day I die, the best quarterback I ever seen play was Dan Marino. Nobody threw the ball like this fucking guy. Nobody did. And he set records that it took 20-some fucking years for everybody to break.
What he did for his time was incredible.
In that era.
In that
to where
era.
you had to turn around and hand them. Every team had 1,000-yard fucking rusher.
Right.
Every team.
What he did in
had
his
guys
era
running for
was
1,500 a
incredible.
year.
Was incredible. Now, do you consider Dan Marino one of the GOATs, though?
I think he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. I've seen him play.
Well-
I know.
So then does that leave the door open for Aaron Rodgers with 1 Super Bowl?
I seen. Do I think he's better than Dan Marino? No.
Okay.
No.
Fair
I see
enough.
Marino do things on the field guys couldn't do. I mean, the guy's an absolute beast.
Okay.
And a competitor. A competitor.
Yeah.
He would get in everybody's face. He hated to lose. The thing was, they would just get outscored because the defense was always suspect. They never had a fucking running game. They were one-dimensional. And that was the only thing that killed him.
Okay, moving on. A lot of speculation on what's going to happen with Jimmy G. But right now, the Vegas odds and the front runners amongst all of the people who are in the know in the NFL think that the New York Giants are going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. It's been swirling for days now, and supposedly there's been a lot
I've been
of talks.
hearing that too. I was hearing Dolphins. I don't see it.
No.
I don't see it unless he goes and signs as a backup somewhere,
which I don't think he's
which
going to do.
I think could happen.
He's not.
One of two things is going to happen with Jimmy G. I think they either trade him to New York if he has the promise that he's going to start, or he's going to wait till somebody gets hurt. And it'll happen. And he'll just won't sign off on a trade or won't do it till somebody gets hurt.
They basically told him they don't need him.
Yeah, they said, fuck you, get out.
He's got to find a place to go,
Right.
Period. I don't think he's going to sit. I don't think he's going to sit as a free agent anywhere. I think he will sign. And like I said, whether it's the Giants, where he has the chance to start and probably will over Daniel Jones, because Jones is obviously gone. They're not going to continue talking.
He is more like Jared Goff than everybody thinks, because it's this year or nothing. If he doesn't put up numbers this year and somehow will that team to 6 or 7 wins, he's out.
I think he's gone regardless. I think he's had his time there. They're not impressed with him anymore. He keeps making the same
mistakes
stuff over and over. Not to say it's his fault, because the offense is atrocious there.
Correct.
I mean, he's got weapons, but he just can't find them.
Okay, with the weapons that the Giants have, with the defense they have, with the draft they had, if Jimmy Garoppolo was the starting QB from week 1, could he take that team to the playoffs?
Over Daniel Jones? Yes.
No. Do you think the Giants are a playoff team with Jimmy Garoppolo?
No.
Nope.
At this point, they upgraded the offensive line. The defense just
they still
got
have more
even
work
better.
to do. I agree.
The defense just got really they're on the urge of being scary, the Giants defense. You know that, right?
Oh, I agree. Yes.
They're on the defense. They're on
the brink of being.
It will not surprise me if you watch Philadelphia, the Giants, have top 5 defenses at the end of the year.
Agree.
It will not surprise me.
Agree.
And some teams that you think that are going to be really good, like San Francisco and other teams like that, actually take a step back.
Well, that leads me into my next question. Trey Lance will be a bottom 5 statistic quarterback this year.
I agree with every bit of that statement.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't have confidence in him. I don't even think the team has confidence in him. That's the only reason why Garoppolo was there
Hung
last
around
year.
so long.
I really believe that.
I think they had to make a decision, and they
had to.
went with the
They had
younger
to show this guy that,
yeah.
hey, we're behind you. Sure we are.
Yeah.
Push him out there and get him.
Right, and hope for the best. I
mean,
agree with
they're
that.
going to cross their fingers with this guy. Here's the thing. The kid from Liberty that just got drafted.
Malik Willis.
Malik
Willis.
Yes. He's a small version of Trey Lance.
You think so?
Yes. Trey Lance is a 6'5" version of Malik Willis.
Well, I think Malik Willis at some point could have a little bit more upside than Trey Lance.
I don't think so. I think they're the same guy. They're big. They're quick. They both have huge arms. I just see them as the same guy.
Do you want a hot take of mine?
Yeah, sure.
I think Malik Willis is going to start games for Tennessee this year.
I think if
I think
Tannehill stinks up the fucking room like he did last year,
I think they've had enough.
I think
they've had enough of Ryan Tannehill.
But here's the thing: they're going to put Willis in there. He's going to make a couple of highlight fucking films because he'll do shit that you never seen because he's a beast. He can throw the football.
He's an athlete.
The problem is, some of them highlight films might be him throwing one out of the fucking stadium.
That's true.
Know.
But
you get to see him preseason.
I like that offense.
Huh?
I do.
He'll probably be playing in preseason.
Probably.
You'll see him.
Yeah, we'll
You'll
see
him in one of the preseason
You'll
games.
see Kenny Pickett throwing.
He'll get to start in game 3.
All right.
Third preseason game. He'll start.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is returning to his 2017 form, and the Commanders could win the AFC East or the NFC East.
I will say this. I think his receiving core there in Washington is actually better than the receiving core he had in Indy. That's my opinion. I think Terry McLaurin is better than...
Did you say Derek McLaurin?
McLaurin. Terry McLaurin.
Oh,
But
Terry.
we're
Okay.
talking
Terry
about
McLaurin.
Carson Wentz.
I like Pittman. Pittman's an animal. I love Michael Pittman. But I just think If
I
you
like
go up
Pittman
and down
better
the
than McLaurin.
roster, and I'm not even talking about what's his name. He can't even stay on the field anymore.
Curtis Samuel.
No, T.Y. Hilton.
Oh, I didn't even know
He
if
can't
he's
even
still
stay on the fucking
team.
field anymore.
What the, I haven't
But
even
I
heard that
just
name.
think the guys that they have in Washington are better than the guys he had in
in a while. Holy shit.
I think you'd have Jesus Christ catching balls for Carson Wentz. He's still not going to get back to the 2017 form.
I mean,
He's
you
fucking
never know.
washed.
I mean,
No, he's washed.
you never know.
He's washed.
You never know what'll
The
He got
holy
ran
catch.
out of Philly for big dick Nick Foles, who's now a backup again, and he got ran out of fucking Indy for the ghost of Matt Ryan.
Hey,
Huh?
that's okay.
He's
There's
fucking
nothing
garbage.
wrong with being a backup in this league. There's nothing wrong. You know what I heard?
You're making a shit ton of money.
Chase Daniels.
Yeah, he made like $58 million.
This
in
guy's
his
made
career. He
almost
started like
$60
12
million
games.
dollars as a
He
career.
started 12
He's
games.
only started 12 games
Something
in
fucked
the
up
NFL.
like
He's
that.
been on like 7 different teams.
Oh yeah.
And the fucking guy's made over $50 million.
God bless him.
Where
God
else?
bless Chase Daniels.
God bless Chase Daniels. Where else can you go
And get
and
paid
become a
millions not to
fucking
do anything.
multi-millionaire
To do
to
nothing.
hold a clipboard? Where the fuck can you go? Sign me up.
They do more. They warm up
Huh?
the quarterback.
Yeah, they jerk off the quarterback and
Are you
hold the
believe
kicks.
that, dude?
Yeah, I know.
This guy's made almost $60 million as a career backup. You don't even see the field. He's played 12 games
All right.
in fucking 8-9 years.
Last one here because I know we're up against it. If you weren't alive when your team last won a championship or Super Bowl, you can't use those championships or Super Bowls to defend your team. This one was asked about the Dallas Cowboys in particular. But I guess you could
can't
also
say
use the Michigan
shit.
Wolverines. I mean, point blank,
Man.
this is pretty open.
Like your team.
Yeah, so
It was asked of the
Cowboys
Cow-
fans saying, hey, we're the fucking best team in the league because we won 6 championships from 1955 to 1990, and you're fucking 21 years old.
It's like me saying the Lions.
Yeah, it'd be
Won.
like Bruce sitting here saying, hey,
Well,
the
let me
Lions
tell you
are better
something
than
right
the
now.
Jaguars.
The
They won.
Lions had 3 championships, and I wasn't born yet.
In the
That's all I'm
NFL,
gonna
the
tell
NFL
you.
wasn't even a,
And I'm
like
fucking old.
But do you think
They were
you as
split
a
in
fan
two.
can utilize titles from when you weren't even born as a reason for greatness for your team?
It all depends.
no.
You know what? I mean,
You can't
I
because
don't
it,
mean what do you
different
mean by
age.
your team? Because today everybody like your guys' generation are bandwagon jumpers.
not me.
So
Whatever,
I,
Mr. 49ers fan from Detroit.
what do you mean?
I'm
What
not.
do you mean?
Name a team that
I
I
was a
like that
Giants
I
I was
This
a
is the
Gi-
news to us. So he's a Lions fan, a Giants fan,
I-
a 49ers fan.
I-
Sounds pretty
I-
bad.
Pittsburgh fan.
Hold on.
Yeah, big Steelers
Let me
guy.
finish.
Raiders.
I was
the Raiders.
Hey, Giants. Dude, when you got to understand something. When I was growing up and I watched Lawrence Taylor come into the league in 1981,
We've heard this story.
and I was in awe of him, dude. It was like you with Tom Brady, but the only difference was Lawrence Taylor's a bad motherfucker. That's the difference. And I watched him. I emulated his moves when I played because I seen him come off the edge and him be that vertical. The only problem was I
Your
was
wingspan was
5
of a
feet shorter
sparrow.
than him
Yeah.
and had the wingspan of a sparrow. But when I would watch him dip and come around that corner and use that hand to smack the ball out, I thought that was the greatest thing I ever seen. And you know why?
Look where you ended up.
do that. The dip. The only guy I seen that had the dip of Lawrence Taylor is Vaughn Miller. When he comes off that edge,
That's true.
and
Yep.
he's at a perfect.
It looks like a plane
45
about to take
a
off.
45-degree angle,
Yeah.
and just swat.
Yep.
He's the only guy I seen that can do it like Taylor.
Wow.
Never got the opportunity to do that.
But Taylor was
I was
6'4".
I was in front of the ball getting my ass.
Yeah, I was
fucking
playing
kicked,
fantasy football.
just stuffing the hole. But
Anyways, that was a great show.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, fantastic show.
It was okay.
So next week we're going to get into some serious fantasy talk and focus more on the news out of training camp because I'm sure by next week we will have some. The Hall of Fame game is what, tomorrow?
I think so.
The Hall of Fame game is tomorrow. So
Who's playing in that?
Pittsburgh and I don't know yet. Hold on. Let's take a gander.
A trick question.
Is that a trick
Oh, by the way,
question?
our little poll that we had
Jaguars
presented-
and Raiders tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
All right, cool.
But by the time you see this, the game will
Yeah.
already have been. So.
Nobody cares anyway.
But okay, preseason this weekend.
Wait a minute.
Giants,
I
Patriots.
wanted to talk about our
Wait, that quick?
Yeah, preseason.
our
stuff.
post
Holy
our
fuck.
post of our Steeler Hall of Fame top 5.
Okay.
It was a hard one.
There were some guys out there that we should have honorably mentioned, but we did not. I am actually the one who chose the 5,
Well, I figured Bruce.
and
did.
I figured people didn't
Well,
like
no,
it that I
put
left a
Troy.
few
I put Troy
players off.
Polamalu in there.
No, but people gave you props because the couple of Steelers fans that reached out to us were like, "Hey, this is good, but what about yada yada?"
No,
and I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"Hey, there's
yeah.
too many to choose." Dude.
I want to tell everybody why I chose who I chose. Joe Green, bar none, best defensive tackle in football throughout the 70s. Throughout
Probably
the 70s.
one of the best ever, dude.
And he was the guy. He was the Aaron Donald of his generation.
of the 1970s.
Okay? He was the Aaron Donald of his generation. I seen him play. I only pick people I see play because I know I evaluate that as this guy is that good.
Did you watch Bobby Lane play?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I've watched film on Bobby Lane, though.
things he did with that, I did
Trey
with-
Lane,
Not the way
the
he saw.
guy's one of the greatest ever to play the game.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
they played in a different era.
We got some feedback on the Lions one too. It was like, "Oh, why are you undergoing Stafford?"
Yeah,
like
people
I was
asked
like,
why
okay,
Stafford
well,
wasn't in.
Why
Stafford,
Stafford? Oh, I don't know. He
Hold
holds
on,
all
hold
the
on.
Lions fucking records.
he's
Maybe that's
still
why.
in
No,
the
Stafford's not in
league.
there.
What?
He's
Stafford's
not in there.
the
He's
Lions.
not in
top
there
five.
because he's not Bobby Lane.
Well, this is what happened.
because he's not. He's still playing in the NFL.
Well, no, it doesn't. That doesn't even
that's
matter.
what I
because
went off.
At the end of the
I
day,
went
what are you
off
going to
of-
do on the Patriots list? Not put Tom Brady? Of course.
no, listen, you
Hold
put
on.
an icon of that team's.
Right.
Bobby Lane was a huge icon
Oh,
in this fucking
I
fucking
asked.
yeah.
I asked this guy straight up, who would you take off to put Stafford on the list? And he said Bobby Lane. And my response was very easy. He won Detroit's last 3 championship. Granted, it was in the 50s, but Stafford never won a playoff game. Point blank.
That's it. That's good enough for me.
That's the
I get it
argument's
that
over.
Stafford
But there
holds all the records.
were a shit ton of other guys you could put on that list.
Absolutely, but,
Yeah, but
those 5 are the.
I'm not going to copy
Billy
every
Sims,
other
Barry Sanders,
list.
Calvin
Here-
Johnson,
here-
Night
here's
Train,
the
and Bobby
thing.
Lane.
You
That's
know,
it.
we had to
Billy
throw
Sims
different shit in
started
there.
the Detroit Lions finally getting a high draft pick, finally,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the guy.
It was
Right.
Barry Sanders' dad's favorite player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders' dad was a big Oklahoma
Billy Sims
guy.
was also responsible for bringing in Barry Sanders. Did I say that right? Did I say
Billy Sims?
Yeah, Billy Sims
Yeah.
was responsible for
Well, I don't
bringing
know
in.
about that. But
Okay.
anyway,
Well,
his dad was a huge fan of Oklahoma. That's why.
Back
Yes.
to Pittsburgh. We had Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert.
Jack Lambert, listen to me. Anybody who knows football, and I'm not fucking around here. Anybody who knows football, you look at Jack Lambert, that's a fucking football player. No teeth, big, tall, scary fucker. That's what he was.
it was hard to get a picture of him just because every picture was him with the helmet and no teeth, just like
That's it. That's
Looking
it.
at the
That's a
fucking
football player, dude. That's what a football player really is. And they won 4 Super Bowls. All right. I know I left Jack Ham off. Jack Ham was also very good. But I think everybody knows who Jack Lambert was.
Yeah, I
Who's the other guy that we traded for Troy Polamalu?
Oh, Greg Lloyd. I was a huge Greg Lloyd fan.
I think you
don't
made
know-
the right call with Palomalu.
I don't
over
know
him,
if you
no.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm not a Palomalo guy. Okay. Do I think he was good? Yes, he
He's
was
one
good.
of the best safeties ever.
Is he?
He's one of the best safeties ever, dude.
Yeah.
Not
he's
saying
not-
the
he's
best. He's
Definitely
one
not
of.
in the top 2. But I actually think there's guys better than him. I think that's
in the
why
top 5.
we put him in there.
He's in the
We
top
put him
5.
in there. That's why.
Palomalu's a top 5 safety
Right.
of all time.
And as far as Jerome Bettis, how could you not put Jerome Bettis and Ben Roethlisberger?
You
in
have
there?
to.
Roethlisberger holds every fucking Steeler passing record there is.
And I mean, Jerome
And
Bettis.
nothing against Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw won 4 fucking Super Bowls. I get it. Terry Bradshaw had the best defense in all 4 of those Super Bowls.
And
that's all I'm going to say.
Jerome Bettis is I personally think Jerome Bettis is one of the most iconic players ever. In
He's
football.
a monster. He's the reason why they wound up winning. You went to the game here against
He was
Seattle.
a defensive tackle playing running back.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was gargantuan. It made no sense, but it worked.
He was Eddie Lacy before Eddie Lacy.
He made Eddie Lacy look like a little bitch.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying as like his shape and size.
There's nothing small about Eddie Lacy.
Yeah, but Jerome Bettis was a refrigerator.
Yeah, he was. I remember when the Rams drafted him, and we were like, why are the Rams drafting a fullback out of fucking Notre Dame to play running back?
Right.
And the guy was a monster.
He's a beast.
The guy was a monster from day one.
Before we end, I got a text from one of our fantasy teams from last year, and he said, for all the shade you throw at Dak Prescott, he wanted me to remind you of this sound clip that we actually sent last year when we did the trade for Dak. So you want to hear this real quick? And then I'd like to hear your feedback on it.
What'd you say?
They don't want me to have Dak Prescott? Is that what it is?
No. I think what they're saying is it's unfair for me to get Leonard Fournette in exchange for Dak Prescott.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, you have Mac Jones, and you have 2 starting running backs.
What are you doing?
Dude, I have a quarterback that puts up 10, 12 points every week. If they don't believe me, tell them to go back and look at every game I've been in. I have not had a quarterback.
Okay.
Hold on.
There's more.
Hold on. No, he just wanted...
I don't know. I mean, you have Mac Jones, and you have 2 starting running backs.
Dude, I have a quarterback that puts up 10, 12 points every week. If they don't believe me, tell them to go back and look at every game I've been in. I have not had a quarterback put 20 up this year.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So how the fuck is that not fair?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, essentially, that soundbite was when I...
By the way, why are you recording our conversation? I'm not fucking saying shit to you anymore.
Okay.
Fuck you.
This is...
Fuck you.
No, the brain leak is kicking in here because...
I don't care.
No. If you remember, and I'll say this on the record for everyone to hear, that was a staged conversation that you and me did to show everybody that you were the one that initiated the trade for Dak
that's
Prescott.
right. You're right.
So that was recorded purposefully
I
so
thought
that
you were
we
recording
could
our
prove to
conversation.
them...
I was going to stop talking to you.
So that we could prove to them that you were the one who wanted to give up Leonard Fournette for Dak Prescott, which was true.
Listen, I had running backs. I didn't need a fucking running back.
And
I needed a quarterback. And that fucking asshole put up one good game for me. One out of fucking 6.
I would like to state for the record that the quarterback you had at the time was none other than the guy who you so highly touted earlier in this episode,
Listen, he was a
Mac
rookie.
Jones.
He was a rookie.
And you gave up on
averaging
him.
14 a week.
You gave up on Mac Jones, the New England Patriots, and Bill Belichick to sign Dak Prescott. So, yes, Uncle Sam did indeed give me Leonard Fournette, who had a great end to last year, in exchange for Dak, and gave up on
And
Bill
guess
Belichick,
what? It didn't matter because we
the
both
Patriots,
got
and Mac Jones. We both ended
both
up
got
losing
bounced,
anyways.
so none of it
We
matters.
both shit the bed. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show today. We will be back with you guys again next week. If you have not yet, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel if you haven't. The link is in the link tree in our Instagram bio, and subscribe to us there. If you're watching us, listen. If you're listening, watch. We will be back again next week with much more training camp talk and some fantasy insight. Thank you guys so much. You'll hear from us next week.